my local grocery store the other day and I heard my name called. Hey, Chris. And I turn around and it's a young person I don't know that well, but I love when young people take the initiative to get my attention because my business is about young people and the strength of my business is about young people. But I digress from the story. So I see it's Sebastian, and Sebastian is the brother of a young man. His older brother worked for me 3 of the last 4 summers. So of course the conversation goes on and I asked Seb what he's up to. He said, Chris, I'm in grade 12. I said, well, what happens next year? Are you going off to school, Seb? No, he says, I'm lacking a bit of direction, so I think I'll stay for a 5th year. I said, Sebastian, you're looking at a guy who spent 6 years in high school who left with no direction. He says, but look at you now, Chris. And of course, I deflect the compliment because I realize he's complimenting me. And I said, yeah, I'm rocking this fashion pretty good, eh, Seb? He says, no, Chris, you seem happy and you're successful and you have a good business. I said, thank you, Sebastian, I do. And I feel I am successful and I do have a good business. But the thing I'm luckiest is to get to live in the Ottawa Valley. I grew up in the Ottawa Valley. Like all young people who work at the Caves, which I did as a youngster, I left and I went other places. I was a youth worker for 13 years. In between the time I left and came back to the Bonnechere Caves to get to manage and own the business, I continued to be a youth worker for many years, even after I bought the Bonnechere Caves. Up until about 5 years ago, I spent my winters as a youth worker. So young people are very important to me and they're the strength and the backbone of my business. Even while I left this area, I was north of Ottawa, I still came back with my ball teams, I came back with my hockey teams, my wife to canoe, my pals to fish. I never really left the Ottawa Valley, and I'm glad to be back in it. I'm glad to be back in this valley and doing business and getting to meet people, and I've got to look at my thing here so I stay on track. I've been a business person now. I've owned the Bonnechere Caves for 22 years. We are about geology. We are about learning, but I feel like I'm managing a rock star. And I guess to some degree I am. I'm managing a rock star, a limestone star of the Bonnechere Caves. Our strength is that people will always want to learn. Another strength is that we are appropriate for all ages. We have an attraction for people of all ages. And caves, marketing caves, are ageless. We all mourn the loss in tourism of a place like Storyland. Kids today don't know the nursery rhymes of Storyland. So Storyland, and even the former owner would say the same thing, it outlived its time. The Bonnechere Cave strength is caves will always rock. They'll always be cool. My challenge is the amount of opportunities to market. There are so many opportunities to market, and I don't know where all my customers come from. But I'm reminded of walking into my friend Pat's store, and she was cursing under her breath while she was counting money. I said, Pat, what are you doing? Oh, she says, I'm angry at these new $50 bills. She says, they keep sticking together. And I looked at her and I said, if the only thing that bothers you today is that your $50 bills are sticking together, and she looked at me, she says, I get it. Well, I'm in the same dilemma, so I'm not going to complain that I have a hard time understanding where my customers come from because people drive by and say, Chris, your parking lot's always full. Nice challenge to have. You don't know where your marketing's coming from, where people are coming from. And we're so busy some days that I don't have time to ask everybody. Nice problem to have, I guess. Now, I do know after 22 years, there's some things I spend money on. I'm not going to spend money on those things next year. But I do talk to people and I do get a sense, and the longer you're in your business, you get a better sense of where people do come from. So I guess there is something to say about experience and, let's call it, wisdom. Frustration, and I'm not the kind of person that takes too much time being frustrated about things, but we're all human. There are some things that frustrate me. I'm very involved in tourism. We struggle with membership. We struggle with budgets to market tourism outside this area. When I leave my place of business at the end of the day and I've attracted through my marketing 400 to 500 people that would not come within a stone's throw of my immediate area or the Ottawa Valley, and I see them walking into business colleagues, stores and restaurants and other places. I'm frustrated on a couple of levels. I'm frustrated, and not too frustrated, that you guys are not taking advantage because they don't know the difference, but you guys are making money off my marketing dollars. And if you were to sit down with me, you could use the things I know to be even more successful in your business, which would be more successful for the whole area. So there's my frustration. I guess live with it. Another advantage the Bonnechere have is the networks I belong to. We've been identified as a flagship attraction through Ontario's Highlands as far as promoting recreational geology. Recreational geology is a new buzzword. What's cool is the Bonnechere have been providing recreational geology for generations. So when recreational geology, my friend Michael Brainbridge, who is a coordinator of that initiative through Ontario's Highlands, comes to Eganville and says, Chris, you guys have already identified yourselves as the Ordovician fossil capital of Canada. That fits so nicely with our marketing. You write poetry about geology. You have poetry nights about geology. You let people come into your cave and play music. That's all recreational geology. You do fossil hunts. So right away, Eganville, the Ordovician fossil capital of Canada, is being marketed with Bancroft, the mineral capital of Canada. And if that is spread across Canada, well, that brings more people to the area and it benefits us all. We're also identified, and those of you in tourism like me, it was identified that one advantage we have is the owner has passion. And a quote is, Chris does not hire geology students and teach them drama and storytelling. He takes drama students who can tell stories and teaches them geology. The point he was making is that I can be very scientific. I can do a scientific presentation on geology and 5% of the people will enjoy it and I'll leave 95% out. If I can tell geological stories that are fun and entertaining, I've captured 95% of everybody, and the other 5% who are scientific and will just come along for the ride and enjoy it anyways. That's geology. My friend up the road, Jerome, he's an artist. He calls himself a naive artist. And I said, Jerome, what the heck does that mean? He says, well, Chris, I've never been formally trained in art, so that makes me a naive artist. I do fossil hunts. I talk about geology every day. I'm a naive geologist. People write books with stuff about geology that I don't know about, but I do know the stories about geology. Thank you, folks who put on the Bistro. Danny, Max, thanks for having us here, and thanks for an opportunity for me to talk about what I'm passionate about. Thanks.